Yin and Yang exist within everything that we can see, feel, touch, etc., as well as ourselves. If we want to experience what originally was called euphoria, which translates to well-being, euphoria does not mean ecstasy in its original connotation. The original frequency of euphoria is actually well-being or harmony. If we want to evolve in euphoria, it's really important that we become masters of both of these energies within ourselves, within how we go about the world. Welcome back to Euphoric Evolution, where we transform conscious leaders from the inside out. I'm Makosi Najezer, also known as the Royal Shaman, as your host, and today we are diving into balancing yin and yang in business. Now, if you are not fully familiar with the terms yin and yang, they're often referred to as masculine and feminine energy, but I am specifically utilizing the terms yin and yang because I think that when it comes to the terms masculine and feminine, we have some misunderstandings. We have some conditioning around what that means, and that can really influence our perception of the energies. So we're going to be utilizing the terms yin and yang, which come from Chinese Taoist perspective. This perspective doesn't actually exist in our culture. It's why we don't have actual language that equally translates over. And so we borrow these terms. Yin and yang essentially are describing two seemingly opposite, seemingly opposing forces that actually are very complementary and what create the harmony that allows for this existence. It's what allows for creation and also destruction. It's what allows for us to exist in or on this plane. So yin and yang exist within everything that we can see, feel, touch, etc., as well as ourselves. Ultimately, if we want to experience what originally was called euphoria, which translates to well-being, euphoria does not mean ecstasy in its original connotation. The original frequency of euphoria is actually well-being or harmony. So if we want to evolve in euphoria, if we want to evolve in our well-being, it's really important that we become masters of both of these energies within ourselves, within how we go about the world. We need to become shapeshifters who are able to know which energetic power, yin or yang, is most necessary at any given moment to create harmony, to create what we desire in an aligned way. So these concepts, these energies exist again in everything, including business. And unfortunately, most of us have very young perspectives of business. We actually associate business to only these young characteristics of it and really devalue, negate, or suppress even sometimes the yin aspects. And that can keep us in a plateau. It can keep us from experiencing fulfillment, harmony, a cohesive team. I mean, it has so many ripple effects. And so if you've been plateaued in your business, you might want to look at this because this is most likely what is happening. In order to know where we're going, we have to know where we've been. So over the last few thousand years, we have seen a growing emphasis on the yang or the yang as being the superior energy. Men are perceived as superior. All of the aspects that are associated with that energy are deemed superior. Most of us have spent our entire lives creating lives, systems, structures, businesses, relationships, etc., solely focused on the yang energy. Now, in business, what is the yang energy? So, in business, the yang energy is going to be primarily, getting the data, that hard data, data-backed decisions, yang. The markets, what is the market doing? What is the economy doing? Also the yang. Having a focus on sales and growth. Sales is a very yang oriented aspect of business. There can be some usefulness to yin in sales, but more on that maybe at another time when I talk specifically about sales. The actual creating the products, launching something, creating the strategy. Strategy is yang. The short-term plans, as well as the structures and systems, the processes that allow for the business to run. It's also the idea of working in the business, being in the business, working with the team, creating the things, serving the clients, etc., is an expression of the yang energy in business. So then where does the yin come into play? So the yin is going to bring in, it's going to be about holistic or inclusive energy that has a higher level perspective, right? So it's not being in the business, but it's coming up out of the business and looking at all of the working parts together holistically and including all of the aspects. So it could be all of the departments, how the clients work with the team, and so on and so forth. But it's having that higher level perspective that is inclusive of all of the aspects at once, or looking at the entire industry at once. It's also the source of innovation and ideas. So ideas, discovery, innovation all come when we are essentially connected and in flow. So we're able to receive ideas that we didn't sit and think about. We just receive them. That's another one. Receptivity, the ability to receive, the ability to listen, the ability to allow in, whether that's allowing in clients, allowing in new team members, allowing in money. It's also about the yin energy is about the connection. It's about those relationships between team members, between the public and the image of the business. It's the connection between clients and those who work in the business, and so on and so forth. A lot of HR, right, would fall under this aspect of business. Intuition is a very, very powerful tool in business that isn't talked about much at all. However, if you get really good at identifying where the yin is in business, you'll notice that most of the top leaders in any industry, many of the geniuses, like Albert Einstein himself, experienced he connected with his own yin energy, and that was what brought through the theory of relativity, right? This is also about knowledge, right? Having the knowledge, collecting the deeper understanding of how things work, because the yin also has to do with the mysteries or the unseen aspect, right? Where the yang has to do with the kind of seen aspect, the yin has to do more with that which is unseen. So you'll see that both of these have a major role in the business, in entrepreneurship in general. Why does a plateau happen though when you are solely in the yang? Or another thing that can happen is burnout, right? Maybe you haven't experienced a plateau and you just keep growing. However, you find that it takes more and more energy. You have to do a whole lot more in order to see any results, right? Or to see the same results, you find yourself doing more. This is because the yang energy is only, let's say, a portion of what makes you you. All of us have access to all of the energy, but each of us has an equilibrium. Each of us has a range of energy that we work best in, or that we have a propensity for, or that we are called to. So we can find that if we've been too much in one energy and haven't been able to embrace and utilize and expand in the other energy, we will burn out, right? So if we're too much in our yang, we find ourselves doing, but there is only so much that we can do. On the flip side, because I do deal with many spiritual entrepreneurs, they can sometimes find themselves in too much yin, right? I actually prefer not to work with people who are in too much yin, because that's just not my jam. But when you are too much in your yin, you find that it's difficult to do anything. It's just what I call like the swampy or the mushy feminine, where you just kind of exist but never actually take the unseen ideas, creativity, etc., and then actually make it into something or bring it forward onto this plane to actually build something or serve someone. So it simply just stays non-physical. It just stays an idea in your mind. And in entrepreneurship, everyone has ideas. It's your ability to execute and to bring those into this reality that creates results ultimately, right? So the important thing to understand here is that you do have aspects, both of these exist within you. I'm going to invite you to, over this week, really explore how you are spending your time. Do you have space for the role of yin in your business? And space actually looks like doing nothing. Do you have time to get bored on your calendar? Is there enough time on there for you to actually process in your body some of the knowledge, ideas, etc., that have been coming to you, so that then you know what to bring forward? Or have you been struggling with taking any action at all, or building structure and systems that are what allow for you to have the space that you need, so on and so forth? Just a little reflection on how you are showing up in your life, how you are showing up in your business day to day, can give you some insight into which one of these areas you are deficient in. Now, this is not about the concept of, I know that in the title, we're talking about balance, right? But ultimately, I want to be careful with the word balance, because people think that, like, oh, balance life and work. I don't believe in balance, because what most people think of when they think of balance is like the scales of justice, right? And there's an equal part of this and an equal part of that. And when they are both equal, then everything is perfect. And we're constantly seeking this non-existent balance. When we're talking about yin and yang in business, what we're really looking for is harmony. What we're really looking for is, do you have the mastery in yourself to be able to tap into whichever energy is necessary at that time without a ton of resistance? You likely are a person, and I'm just saying this because I know the kind of people who tend to watch my content or listen to my content. Usually, these are the kinds of people who struggle with or resist having space on their calendar. They tend to be, or you tend to be, if you are in this camp, then you might be a person who really resists receiving, really resists taking a break, really resists doing nothing, right? And if so, then that's showing you that really you need to master more of the yin in your day-to-day life, and then also, of course, in your business. I know it seems wild to think, but If you are struggling to receive in other areas of your life, then you're going to struggle to receive money, right? You're going to struggle to receive clients because you're stuck in the chasing or going after yang energy, and vice versa, right? Especially if you're an artist. This is one thing that I see artists really struggle with, is like they're always in the ideas, always in the creativity, etc., which is beautiful, but then really resist doing any marketing or doing any sales, and pretty impossible to have a business without those energies. I've done some content on this before, talking about, what does it look like to have yin leadership, because I know that that's really going to be important as we move forward, where AI is coming in. By the way, the video on my YouTube is called Entrepreneurship and Energetics, Embracing Yin Leadership. Those videos really dive into how technology is going to be coming in and bringing a lot of the yang energy, the data, the systems, the support, the efficiency, and so on and so forth, that are going to make it easier for us to have space. However, I was just talking to my husband and I said, I noticed that whatever size container we give ourselves, we will fill it. Meaning that if we think that something is going to take us 40 hours a week, we will find a way for it to take 40 hours a week. But if we give ourselves more constraints, a smaller container, and we only give ourselves, let's say, 15 hours, we tend to find a way to be more innovative and make it happen in only 15 hours. What this shows to me is that it's not just the external resource, whether it's time or AI or technology or other people or social media channels, whatever externally, we have to do the inner work in order to be able to have that mastery within ourselves to receive whatever external support exists to our advantage, right? So we can have all the technology in the world. We've had lots of advancements in humanity, and yet we still find ourselves overwhelmed and burnt out, right? Like, not that long ago in human history, we didn't have access to refrigerators and dishwashers and automatic laundry machines, etc. And those have created more time and space for us to use in other ways. But if we aren't mindful of how we're using our time, we just find ourselves constantly going. I'm thinking that probably in the near future, there will be some content around why that is and what we need to do to overcome that, because it's not as simple as just, I'm going to buy a new gadget and that gadget's going to make things more efficient. I'm going to buy a subscription to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is going to just make everything so much easier. Sure, but only if you do the inner work. Otherwise, you will just find ways to stay in the same energy, stay the same way, right? I hope that this has been valuable for you. If you felt like there was something in here that somebody you know needed to hear, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. I can't wait to see you next time on Euphoric Evolution. Toodles.